Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, and we are so glad that you're with us on this Flower Communion Sunday. And yes, Pentecost for those who are celebrating as well. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Fullerton, California, an inclusive community dedicated to a better world. I'm Robert Blair, your Reverend, whoever you are, however you identify, whether you join us in person or online, you are welcome here. UUCF acknowledges that this land is physically situated in the original ancestral homelands of the Ahachiman, the Kizh, and the Tongva peoples. May we have the humility and the courage to help restore what has been broken and the wisdom to live into a new solidarity with indigenous communities and the earth. Before we begin our service, I'd like to call your attention to a few brief announcements. We ask that after our Flower Communion service that UUCF members remain after the service for our annual Congregational meeting. Non-members and friends are invited to stay, but only members can vote on the business items. We'd like to thank all of the volunteers who helped staff our listening booth at yesterday's Pride Fest. Hopefully any residual glitter will eventually wear off. Guided meditation classes return today after the congregational meeting. So around 1-ish. Following the meeting, join Patrick Mannion in the choir room. Planned Parenthood is hosting their first ever JAM, which stands for Justice, Advocacy, and Mission. The JAM event is this Tuesday at noon on Zoom. Registration links can be found in the online newsletter. We are the host sites for the Fullerton Day of Music event. That is coming up on Saturday, June 21st. Gary Daniels is heading up this venture and could use volunteers on site to help keep the building secure. On the plus side, you get to listen to some great music while you work. I'll be taking some time off in the month of June, in fact, next week through the 21st. If you have any ministerial needs, you can reach out to our lay pastoral care associates, Dana Bianco, Sherlan, Neblett, and Patrick Mannion. So that will be next week, Saturday to Saturday. So I'll be working this week if you need anything on Tuesday, all right? We'll be sharing our joys and sorrows a little bit later in the service. So if you're in the sanctuary and you'd like to fill out a joy, a sorrow, you can fill out the pink slips in the back, and you need to get them back to the front at a time for all ages, at the end of time for all ages. If you're joining us online, I invite you to post where you are worshiping with us from, and maybe a joy or a sorrow in the comment section so that we can include you like you are right here with us, because you are right here with us in our hearts. And now those of you in the sanctuary are welcome to take a moment to smell the flowers and greet one another. Stop and smell the flower. Okay, let's go.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Flower Communion. Happy day after the Pride Fest. So this morning, or actually today, Peter, I'm going to have you hold up your gray hymnal. All the songs that we're singing today are coming from the gray hymnal, and they are under the seats. But today, the lyrics to Gather the Spirit are about coming together as a community and seeking spiritual connection, recognizing the power and support found in unity. In essence, Gather the Spirit is a song about the power of community and unity, finding strength and solace in shared experience, cultivating peace, hope, and compassion, personal and collective growth and refinement, recognizing the interconnectedness of life and the presence of a universal spirit. What does that sound like? Okay. Song about many of our values, a song of welcome and celebration, encouraging individuals to come together and connect with something larger than themselves. So stand if you're willing and able, sing whether you're able to or not. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit, growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I now invite our worship associate, Kyra Keener, to light the chalice. This is Within the Heart of the Flower by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. And please join with me in saying our unison affirmation up on the screen. This flame affirms the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Love is the doctrine that we share. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need. Thus do we covenant with one another.
It is our custom to provide donations of non-perishable food and personal care items for Pathways of Hope, a local food bank. Please check the dates on your items, for we are unable to donate anything that has an expired date. As the children come forward, they are asked to collect the donations placed at the end of the rows. And now the children are invited to come forward for the time for all ages.
From your sea to our day, together
Good morning, everyone. Happy Flower Communion Day. And today we are going to read a little poem called We Are All Flowers by Orla O'Sullivan. All right. We are all flowers, each and every one. We're freshened by water. We reach towards the sun. Sometimes we're strong flowers, super confident, like a big dandelion pushing up through cement. And some days we're droopy, a bit tired or unsure, a bit worried or lonely or sad or heart-worn. We have droopy times, so it's just great to know how refreshing each other helps flowers to grow. It helps you and your friends and your family and me and your classmates and teammates and community. You can change the whole day if you water one flower. You can change the whole world with super watering power. So how do we do it? Here's a pathway that's clear. 3 steps to success in your gardening career. 1, start from your heart. It has to be true. No fake flower watering. It has to be you. 2, find someone you love. Bring them into your heart. Draw them in nice and close so they really take part. You might notice their eyes or their smile or their voice or their hands or their laugh or their toes. It's your choice. What do you feel with this person so dear? What things do you sense when this person is near? Snuggled or cared for, loved or heart-warmed, included or just safe. Your worries transformed. 3, now get super specific. What on earth do they do that you're happy they're them and so happy you're you? It can be big or little, something loving or wise or patient or generous or a lovely surprise. It could be them not shouting when you were so cross or making ice cream with the best chocolate sauce. Maybe holding you close when you were so scared or listening deeply so you felt really heard. It can be anything. So let your heart explore and find one thing about them that you just adore. Don't pick up a bucket and drench them all quick. A gentle cascade is what will do the trick. With precision and care, you can refresh with ease, and their hearts will blossom with your expertise. When we water flowers, we're presenting a prize, and people can glimpse how things look through our eyes. We all see things differently. Things mean different things. Some of us love seesaws, and some of us love swings. Some love bedtime songs that help us rest deep, and some yank up the covers. I'm trying to sleep. Flower watering helps us to be known and seen, so we know how things feel when they mean what they mean. With practice, flower watering is an everyday joy. It's indubitably a great skill to employ. It helps everyone know that they're there, and you know that they're kind, and you know that they care. Exactly. So go forth, wise gardeners, and re-energize all the beautiful flowers so dear to your eyes. All the ways that they care for you, you recognize. But wait, there's a 4th step that's crucial to know, for sometimes you're droopy, no energy to grow. There are goggles of gloominess that we sometimes wear, and we feel a bit rubbish, and it feels hard to care. This is just when we muster our kindness and strength to help us retune to a better wavelength. We remember small things that we did or we said. We took care of our sleepy selves by going to bed. We brushed our teeth and we tidied. We offered to share. We snuggled our pet so they know we care. We rested and played and we learned and explored. We dreamed and we tried to be patient when bored. We gave someone a hug, or our words brought a smile. We took care of our anger, which was so worthwhile. Coming back to our body, feeling safe and at home, breathing deep in our belly, at peace in the zone. There were times we helped loads with our kind heart open. Drop by drop, we remember. And you'll find once you start that a giant cascade of heart pouring pours out. And you more than you need now, without a doubt, filling up watering cans and a wide reservoir, reminding you you're amazing just as you are. So don't let it push past. Each drop of memory brings super strength and anti-droopy energy, and you'll know you are a wonder. Aware of all that you do, you will remember your goodness, and you'll sense this is true. The importantest flower to water is you. The end. Enjoy your flower communion. Let's go.
Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to be our wonder. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way. Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to meet our brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way.
Those joining online are invited to share where they're from and a joy or sorrow in the comment section. And Kyra and I will go through them, and Kyra will light the candle for those sharing online, and those in the sanctuary, you are invited to come up and light your own candle as well. We begin by lighting a candle for all our concerns for the larger world. Our wish for peace and justice, our hopes for our children who will inherit this planet. May this candle represent all these wishes and calls to action that are more than we can articulate in this space. And now let us share the personal joys and sorrows in our lives. We start off with, I think, what is on our hearts this morning in Southern California, a concern for the city of Los Angeles, the city of angels. Full support to you as we, as Shelby puts it, resist this dictatorship. Mary Botts has a joy, thanks to all of our volunteers and listeners at Pride Fest yesterday. It was fabulous. Gotta say it that way. She is not here, but I saw her online. Happy birthday, Doris Dressler Clark! All this says is, it is a big one. So happy 30th. And that was from Randy, actually. We're running out of pink slips. A joy from Barry, our second soup kitchen, was held last Wednesday. We fed 52 guests. Our volunteers were amazing. I am so grateful to all who are participating. That joy from Barry, and our gratitude to you for your heart for service, Barry. For Peter, who has a concern for his mom and the home that she is in, and for the cleanliness in that home. Also a sorrow from Peter, or a prayer for honesty and strength and grace for the upcoming election for public office. Thank you, Peter. Another joy, a personal joy from your reverend to congratulate my husband and I for 17 years of marriage. Love you, Michael. We now light one more candle for all the joys, concerns, and sorrows that remain unexpressed but are still close to our hearts. And now please join me in saying the affirmation. We join you in celebrating your joys. May you feel our love and compassion for your sorrows and concerns, for all that is spoken and unspoken. May the caring of our beloved community sustain us all.
Now let us move into the spirit of meditation, reflection, and prayer. You may close your eyes, take a deep breath, whatever helps you to find your center. I personally invite you to breathe through your heart space, allowing it to open, bloom, and feel. Travelers upon earth enter into the communion of flowers with joyful hearts. Enter with reverent thoughts. It has taken long months beneath cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us long times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short. The flowers stay only a brief time. We are travelers upon the earth, travelers through all the brief lifetimes. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate love together, in love, that we travel away, we take with us the memory of our golden hours together among the flowers. a bouquet of people. Let's thank a bunch of people. We give thanks for children. Like tulips and irises, they multiply around us, making the world ever more filled with color, beauty, and new life. May we bless them as they replant themselves even further from us, knowing that they need their own space to grow into. We give thanks for generous friends, a constant in bloom of echinacea, and whose gifts lift up our body and spirit. We give thanks for feisty friends, as indomitable as geraniums, and for continuous friends who, like bittersweet and ivy, hold on and never let go and can never be gotten rid of. Our crotchety friends, as prickly as rose bushes, their beauty a secret that is only discovered through careful gardening. For surprising friends, who at first glance seem dour and then blossom into joy as quickly as for Cynthia. For funny friends, silly as snapdragons, and serious friends, as complex as chrysanthemums. For comfortable friends, their gentle presence as soothing as a sweet smell of lilacs. For stormy weather friends who stand by us in hard times, like the lily of the valley that cannot be deterred by shade or shadow. For old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on fast as phyllox. For friends as unpretentious as dogwood, as persistent as pachysandra, as steadfast as azalea, and who, like snowdrops, can be counted on to see you through the winter and remind you that spring always comes. For loving friends who wind around us like wisteria and embrace us despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for forget-me-not friends, gone but never forgotten. Their beauty lives on in our memories and our hearts. For this bouquet of people, we brighten our lives each in our own way. We give thanks.
So I have to tell you, this is my first flower communion, and my veins are filled with spirit and Sudafed. What a beautiful Sunday. Even with everything that is going on out there, we can come together and share the beauty of this planet with one another. When I bring up the word power, what comes to mind? What pictures are you seeing in your head right now? Would it be the tornadoes like from the videos we've seen this historic season? Perhaps some of Mother Nature's other expressions like hurricanes, tsunamis, avalanches, and of course, here in California, fires and earthquakes, right? Or would it be the human or man-made things that we think about, nuclear weapons or an army of flying drones that can take out an entire fleet of bombers? Maybe it's the power of the rushing water over the falls of Niagara, or the sound of a herd of buffalo running wild in the countryside. But what if that power looks like something entirely different? You know, they may be fragile. They may need water and possibly fertilizer or someone else to take care of them, if it's my case, seem to kill them. But still, that image that comes to mind when we speak about flower power, we can pick and pick and pick, and yet those petals, in their essence, come to life. It is in their DNA, right? To come back to life. Imagine that you are going on a hike for 2 days through the savannas of the Cerrado in central Brazil. On the first day, you see fire consuming all the plants in the landscape with flames several meters high. You're not that shocked since you were already told that wildfires are part of the natural dynamics and the ecosystem in that area. But then the next day, you make your way back through the same path as before, and what do you see? Several plants already starting to bloom. This may sound like the Greek and Egyptian myth of the phoenix bird that is reborn in the ashes, but in this case, it's a plant and it's Brazil, and it is true. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of the species. It has the same letters as rhinoceros, but look it up. It's really cool. Then there's other examples that are not as exotic, like the miracle flowers improbably sprouting between concrete blocks of the sidewalk, like daisies staking their claim in parking lots. And daffodils cannot stop a flower. Those stone walls that you see flowers sprouting through. When I think of flower communion and this, being my first one, 2 words come to mind. The first is power, as we've discussed, and the second is hope. That inside the DNA of the flower is the power to withstand the storms of life, and humans are instilled with the same programming. A strength for survival, a hope for renewal, and when they come together, a beautiful, diverse bouquet. But the roots of the flower communion go beyond this metaphor. When I was talking with Mary Watts about this first sermon that I would do about this and what it was going to be on, I shared with her that I was a little self-conscious about being a newbie. Not that you all have made me feel that way, far from it. I asked her if the congregation had heard the story and the history of flower communion, not wanting to do a repeat of sermons of the past, but as a newbie, Mary made a good point. She said, it's actually a good thing, Rob. We get to see things through your eyes with a fresh and new point of view, or at least a new interest. So I was really interested in how this flower communion, the first I have had without bread and wine, began. I wanted to go back to the beginning of why we do this, and as we go through the ceremony, we'll say more and more about the story, past the metaphors, and to the man and his heart who brought the idea of flower communion to us. The flower communion is uniquely Unitarian. The ritual was developed by Czech Unitarian minister Norbert Čapek in Prague, or as they say, Praha, in 1923. The ceremony was brought to the wider world and the U.S. by his wife, also a Unitarian minister, Marja Čapek, shortly before the U.S.'s entry into World War II. During the occupation of Prague, the 72-year-old Norbert Čapek was arrested by the Germans, tried, sent to Dachau, and finally killed by poison gas as part of the Nazi program to get rid of those who they felt were undesirable and infirmed. At our flower communion, Norbert Čapek's story generally is not the emphasis of the service or the sermon, but his life and its meaning cannot be overlooked. First of all, Čapek was imprisoned in a concentration camp because he was a free thinker. He preached and practiced humanism. Second, he was executed because he was older, not in the best of health. So when we think about this minister and his life and the way he died at the hands of the Nazis, it points us to our very first principle: the inherent worth and dignity of every single human being. Čapek spent his life in preaching and teaching and writing that in recognizing this inherent worth and dignity, people are capable of amazing, miraculous things. That every person has a contribution to make in this world. That every person has their place in this bouquet that is life. The diversity of this bouquet, that is the United States, is under attack, especially this morning. This midday hour, as we look at these flowers, let us also visualize the faces beyond these flowers, especially those faces that are under attack. This flower communion is going to be one where I ask you to do some work. And it may not be as flowery as others, but flowers bloom in the storms, and we are in one. So when you look at the flowers this morning, I want you to visualize faces beyond those flowers. The immigrant, documented or undocumented, who is afraid this morning. The trans person that maybe visited our tent of listeners yesterday. The autistic student, the gay teen kicked out of their home because of who they are and who they love, the innocent black teen in the back of a squad car. As you give and take your flower, I invite you to attach one of those faces to your flower today as you take it home. Because what you're doing is you're taking Reverend Čapek's message to heart. Remember his life's work and worth, and remember why he was killed by the Nazis. Today's message is one for two audiences: for the flowers and for the tenders and the gardeners. As you look at your flower over the next week, and as you visualize the face that you put on it, remember that each belongs in the bouquet of beauty and diversity. And I invite you to remind yourself of any power and privilege you have in ensuring that every human has inherent worth and dignity. Our first principle. It's number one for a reason. Again, the message this morning is for two audiences. The hope for those under attack to remember their strength and to keep fighting. And for those in power, for those with privilege, the hope is in us and in the power of divine love flowing through us to remember that we have a responsibility to use the power that we have. It is a message to the flowers to keep strong and to the tenders and gardeners that you are needed now more than ever. This ritual is not just one to decorate the sanctuary or our homes. It is to remind us that the diverse bouquet is under attack. And it is up to us to use our privilege to maintain the diversity in this bouquet. This year, the flower you take home will look different, and its meaning will be much different. For this flower is a reminder of the faces of the oppressed and marginalized. This flower is a reminder of the sacred beauty created by the divine. And this flower is a reminder that we are responsible for protecting that beauty, protecting its diversity, and using all our power and privilege to weed out the hate. Amen. As we start this part of the flower communion service, we're going to go back to Reverend Chopik and his wife, Maja. They became part of a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921 when World War I ended. So we're going way past back, okay? Before where I was talking about. His home country, now independent, he and Maja returned home to Czechoslovakia. His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. Love that name. Says it all. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation. Chopik turned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of the flowers. And in 1923, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or the roadside, representing the diverse beliefs within the church community. And everyone was invited to take a different flower home. As we talked about before, he was arrested by the Gestapo in 1942. The Nazis accused Chopik of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to Dachau concentration camp. For the many different reasons. And as Teresa and David Schwartz write, even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers, stones, and sticks that they could among the weeds of the camp put together. The Nazis killed Norbert Chopik, but his spirit and his courage and his commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real, to be lived out. So today, we celebrate this ritual not only as a reminder of the past, but as an affirmation of our church community and its commitment to our UU values of justice, of equity, of pluralism, of generosity, of interdependence, and transformation, all centered in love. As Christine plays the music, we invite you to come up and select a flower to take home with you. I invite you again to think of that oppressed and marginalized person along with that flower that you take home. Let it be a reminder to us of what we are to do and a reminder of the beauty of diversity and what that diversity brings to the world. Come now. I would like to invite those who it is their first flower communion to come first, and then everyone else.
At UUCF, we embrace the possibility of a world filled with peace, acceptance, justice, love, and joy. By our financial commitment, we help this congregation through its maintenance, mission, and ministries. We make this possible a reality, make those possibilities real in a challenging world. A basket is being brought around the sanctuary, and there are payment options on the screens. Whatever you are able to give is received with the utmost gratitude, and we thank you for your commitment and your generosity.
So De Colores translates directly to of colors in Spanish. It's a well-known Spanish folk song that celebrates the beauty of nature and variety of colors in the world, like our lovely flowers. But the song goes beyond that. De Colores became the anthem of the United Farm Workers movement led by Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta in California during the 60s and 70s, and in one of the most commonly heard songs during the rallies. This Canción de la Causa, or Song for a Cause, took on new meaning in light of the migrant workers who worked harsh conditions to grow and harvest crops in the United States. De Colores was the anthem sung to close out union meetings of the UFWM. People stood with arms crossed in front, reaching to the right and to the left, and shouted, "Sí se puede," yes, we can, at the end, which I'd love to see us do at the end of this one as well. So if you would love to join me in singing one English verse and then a Spanish verse, number 305, De Colores.
Today, I'm also your caring listener, so I will be available after the service, or actually after our congregational meeting, and I'm here if you have any concerns, would simply like someone to talk to, and please trust that anything you ever share is always confidential.
Now I'd invite you to please stay standing and join hands if you wish. Yes, this flower communion may hit a little different, but this world is a little different. So, for all the flowers out there, know your beauty and know your power. For all of those gardeners out there, know your power and your privilege. Go now in peace. Actually, you're going to stay because we're doing the congregational meeting. And let us sing our song as we extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts, wherever we may go. And so we say together, Amen, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, and blessed be. Now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. So now in peace, so now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
All right, hello everybody. If you are a member, you are asked to stay. If you're not a member, we're asked, you could leave or you can observe. I'm gonna pass out some clipboards so you can, for our members to write their name on, so we can take a quick roll afterwards, and then we're gonna get started. We have a lot to say this morning, so we want to make this as short as possible for everyone's convenience and comfort. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our annual UCF Congregational meeting. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and a couple new ones. This gathering is essential, and it's an opportunity for us to come together as a community to reflect on our shared journey over the past year and look forward to exciting possibilities. As we begin, let's take a moment to appreciate the hard work and dedication each board member and volunteer has done for our congregation, and your presence here today demonstrates your commitment to our values and mission. We have a full agenda. We have a full agenda filled with updates, discussions, opportunities to engage with one another, so let's embrace this chance for collaboration, open dialogue as we continue to strengthen our bonds with each other. I want to thank you all for being here, and let's make this meeting productive and inspiring. So there are 3 clipboards going around. If you would just sign your name on the clipboard, and as you are signing, we will get started with the meeting. Also, as we proceed with this meeting, I'd like to have your attention to the slides on each of the screens. Each slide will reflect today's agenda and talking points during the meeting. So, the first thing on our agenda today is the revised bylaws. If you were on the bylaw committee, please stand so that everyone, it was Mike Mendelson and Dana. Okay, Dana and Sherlan. So they guys have worked many hours and several weeks on this project, and they have come back and forth to the board for guidance and recommendations, and of course, you may have some questions, and they're here to answer those questions. Now, I think, Megan, do we need to make a motion before we have a discussion? Okay. Well, we have to make a motion to vote on the bylaws, and someone needs to second it. And then we can do have to give a discussion. Yes.
Okay, just a motion to change the bylaws? Okay, I'm making a motion to update the bylaws. Okay, I just want to go over a little few things in the bylaws that people might have questions about. And as most of you know, I hate being up here talking publicly, so bear with me as I stumble through this. Also, Dana is here and Mike is here to help me answer questions. And I just also want to really thank them for participating in these changes. The first one I'd like to talk about is the membership change. And I don't know if I should read it, but basically, I took this section 5 as a new section in the membership component, and I took this out of, kind of stole this with a little bit of modifications from Neighborhood UU Congregation in Pasadena. And it just states that a culture of stewardship is to be continually nurtured to support the vision of the congregation. Members are expected to contribute responsibly as they are able to sustain the annual operating budget and any capital campaigns. A minimum annual contribution is required by all members, but may be waived by a minister in cases of hardship and approved by the board. So we want to encourage everybody to contribute financially to the church. So, and there's if you can't or feel you can't, there's an option for not doing that. Slide 2. Is congregational meetings. In the past, we've always struggled with getting a quorum. You know, up at the temple, we used to like stand in front of the doors and go, "You can't leave, you have to vote." So we're proposing to change the quorum from 40% to 20% of the membership. Many organizations have a much lower number for quorums. Like example, the League of Women Voters has a 10%, so I don't think we're out of line with decreasing that. Slide 3 is the Board of Trustees. We worked on this section for 2 reasons, and one was kind of in a response to the financial situation we got into in the last couple of years. And one thing we're now going to have there's still 4 officers on the board plus a president. Is that right? No, there's 4 total. But one, instead of a treasurer, it's going to be a vice president of finance and a vice president of, where is it here? I don't want to screw it up. Of operations, thank you. So, this one thing is that, and the vice president of finance, the idea is they would stick around for 2 years, so we'd have some kind of continuity. Another thing I didn't put on here that I should have, oh no, I did put it on it here. After the president serves an elected term, they can, they're not forced to, but they can remain on the board for a year as an ex officio officer. So they're not voting, but they're there to kind of get some continuity from one board to another so people can figure out what the heck's going on. And also having 2 vice presidents, there's always a concern by churches lately that they might be taken over by other people that will come into their membership and try to take a hold of the assets. And this is also partially changing that, because you could be, the way the bylaws are written now, you could actually be appointed to the board and then eventually become president, like if somebody quits. So we've changed that to say that that can't happen, that anybody that becomes president has to be voted in by the congregation. And the last one, which to me isn't a huge problem, but it doesn't really require the board to approve P&Ps for committees, and we added that because I think it's good. If somebody starts a new committee and wants to and they have to do PMPs, then I think it's a good idea to have the board kind of review those and make sure there isn't anything too wacky in them or anything. Oh, sorry, policies and procedures. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any questions? Oh, yeah, that's one thing we're going to do with the congregational meetings, and potentially, and with, actually, board meetings can be done on Zoom if it's approved by the president. And they still, and it has to be, it's like for the extra meetings that we have, the intent is that we still meet in person for the board, but if we have to discuss other things or something comes up, we can do it by Zoom. And also the congregational meeting, you can vote by Zoom. But you have to have the camera on so that we can identify who you are. And that's another thing about avoiding takeovers and that kind of stuff. So, anything else you can think of? Questions from the floor? Not one question?
Would you be required to do a financial pledge before you're allowed to sign the book under this bylaw?
I don't think it states that in there, because you can't vote. The one thing that being a member gets you is being able to join this lovely group and vote on stuff, right? So I think it still has to be the 3. I don't think that affects signing the book.
I think what we have, especially up there, is that it's an expectation that if you're a member that you are financially supporting, but we also know that some people cannot afford to do that, so we didn't want to make it a mandate.
Right.
In determining what a responsible contribution to the congregation is, it would be useful to have some sort of statistics. I mean, just a simple example would be the operating expenses of the congregation divided by the number of members or something. Or a mean, a third quartile, a first quartile. What is available there? What can the board make available?
Yeah, I think they do talk about that at New to You, I think. And during the pledge drive, actually a little bit, so. But that's, yeah, I mean, the operating budget's public information and membership is too, so. Yeah, we're redefining membership a little bit with the change in membership. And I think it's also gonna be able to define, because we have an issue with a lot of people still on our list for members that haven't been here for like 6 years, so that needs to be kind of tightened up a little bit too, so.
I just had a question about the a 20% quorum. Something about that being common. Is that common in UU churches, or is it common in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones I've checked out.
Okay. I was kind of astonished by that, but thank you.
Actually, this church, the First Christian has I read it this morning, they have like the quorum is tied to how many members are attending church. So they have a huge membership, but I think some of them don't attend, so, which kind of, it's not a bad idea.
It is,
right? So it's somewhat flexible.
Going back to the donations, it seems like you're putting it's a bit of an onus, I think, for a lot of people.
Sorry,
It's a bit of an onus. It's a difficult thing, and yet you have no teeth for saying, oh, you have to give the right amount of money, but you get to decide how much money that is or not, and whether and then something about the board can approve that you don't have to give money. I don't see that as being useful at all for our church. I think it's going to create division, and I wonder when we're voting, is this an all or nothing, or is this we can pick pieces to say, I accept this but not that?
Well, I think it's open to interpretation somewhat, and that giving that out. And the UUA, you know, when I was looking at their suggestions for the bylaws, it's very, they put out there that it's much better to try to have a financial commitment from people. And then we thought we should do that with an option of and we don't want to say, okay, we want you to pledge $1,500 a year. I mean, that to me doesn't seem realistic at all. But I think we need to try to encourage. This is like an encouragement for people that we need. We to survive, we need to have financial commitments also.
Well, I agree with that 100%, that we need the money, but I don't think it's helpful to basically tell people I mean, it's almost, when I first read the first part, it sounds like, oh, and if you can't give the money, we may not let you be a member. And then you say, but it's very wishy-washy, in other words.
I think it's intentionally a little wishy-washy.
So I'd say because it's wishy-washy, don't have it in there. Just take it out. And people give what they give, and we've been dealing with this so far. Now our budget hasn't been all that great, but I think this is going to turn people away.
Well, thank you for your opinion.
It is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Can I answer the second part of his question?
Yes.
The answer to the second part of your question is you can make a motion to amend the proposed bylaws.
So the answer to the second part of your question is you can make a motion to amend the proposed bylaws, and that would be the same way we get a second. We would vote on it before we voted on the overall. So that's how we change it. We make a motion to amend.
To that point, I agree with the sentence that members are expected to contribute responsibly and as they are able. The one that I struggle with is a minimum annual contribution is required by all members, because it doesn't say what that is, and I think that is off-putting. And I think that the first sentence does what it needs to do, and the second sentence is not something I would encourage putting in.
Does the board have a minimum amount or a percentage of a person's income or give us something to work with?
I think the idea here is that even if you pledge $5 a month, it's a buy-in. It's like, it's a different thing than throwing $20 in the basket or something. It's like a commitment. If you say, I'm gonna pay $5 a month this year, and I can afford that. So I think that's, I think it's more than just financial stuff. It's a commitment to this community in a way that's gonna help it.
I guess then the question that comes to mind is, just to be blunt, do we have people in our membership who are not contributing, and the board views them as, I'm sorry to use the term, but as freeloading? I mean, that they're getting something for nothing? Is this a problem that we're experiencing? I'm not aware of that.
I don't even know how to.
I would say that it's, we have a number of members on the books that don't show up and don't, But what we really need to do, and what we're trying to do, is to reach out to them and find out what the situation is, and then take them off the books if they are not able to contribute and not going to show up, and not going to contribute either money or time.
So then wouldn't the approach be to first find out who's active and then determine where we are as far as financially? I guess what I'm saying is if we cleared the roles of people who are no longer active, might that not solve the problem of people not contributing? I'm just worried about inserting something that, as people have said, is off-putting until we figure out where the problem really is. And if you're saying we know that there are people who are not active, they may be the same people, and You follow what I'm saying? I mean, am I making a clear point? Does the board still feel, even if that were done first, does the board still feel that there is a need for
Yes,
this?
the board feels there is a need for that.
Sherlan, point out something.
How about including something in this bylaw about helping out with the soup kitchens at St. Andrews, at Tustin Sunday Supper, at the Episcopal Church of St. Mark, or the St. Andrews, or the soup kitchen that's held here the first Wednesday night of every month?
Well, I could say we do a lot of that, but that's not what belongs in the bylaws. That's, well, actually,
For those who might have a money issue.
Yeah, actually, to Peter's point, that we were members of a church who had a bylaw like this. I think that they had a provision for membership and voting members. They actually had a distinction. To be a voting member, you were required to donate a certain amount of money, and I think they did have that. I will say that and so we were members of that church. It was a time when we did not have a lot of money and 3 kids at home, and we donated a lot of time. We were both full-time RE teachers, and similar to the work Colleen has done on the board here, but we were not able to make a financial commitment. And we had to get up and leave during these meetings. I didn't love that. I mean, it was off-putting, absolutely. We were not, but we did have membership. And I wonder if there's language about membership and voting membership. I also felt at that time that there should have been a provision for the amount of hours we were donating to the church to contribute, because we didn't have finances to contribute at that time.
Hi, I know we've always talked about sharing our time, our talent, and our treasure. And I think a lot of people, including myself, may feel a little spooked by the word required as far as a contribution. It sounds financial the way that this is written. And certainly I think if you changed required to encouraged or recommended, that might help soften things a bit. And also if you included somehow that the contribution could be with your time or your talents as well.
So it's very difficult to put parameters on issues like donating because everybody's situation is so different. And so we have to keep it somewhat vague in order to allow for all the different types of situations that people are describing. We do have the ability for situations that are kind of outlying situations for the minister and the board to make accommodations for people who simply can't contribute financially. They can contribute with their time and their talents like is being suggested. I did want to say though that the difference between putting money into the hat goes around, and making a pledge is that a pledge can be worked into the budget. A pledge becomes part of the budget. What goes into the hat, it can't really be definitively counted as part of the budget. So that's why we want people to make a pledge as opposed to, say, thinking, well, I put in $5 every week, so that's what I'm going to do. That was the point.
Questions or comments?
Call for the question.
I just want to add one thing, is that being a member allows you to vote, but everything else, the small groups, everything else, it's not like the language maybe could be like was recommended, but everybody can do everything in this church except for vote when they're to be a member. So, it's not like telling people they can't go to small groups, or they can't do this, or can't do that, so.
I would like to make a motion to amend that article by removing the last sentence. Are we able to do that?
I have a question. Is it necessary to be a pledging member to be a board member?
Yes.
Okay, so I think Allison made a motion. Right?
I second it.
And who was that? Oh, and Dennis Spiro seconded that?
What, can you say it again?
It needs to be restated.
What Allison is proposing is, or the amendment that she's proposing is that the last sentence would be removed. So it would say the same thing, a culture of stewardship is to be continually nurtured to support the vision of the congregation. Members are expected to contribute responsibly as they are able to sustain the annual operating budget and any capital campaigns. And then the last sentence would be removed. Any discussion on that before I?
All in favor of the amendment?
So all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Yeah, raise your hands, because we do
so
need to kind of count.
counted.
Okay, and all opposed?
Motion passes. So the Article 5 membership has been amended, and the congregation accepts the amendment.
So then.
Okay, so someone had called the question to the floor. We're going to vote for the acceptance of the bylaws as they are amended. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Raise your hand, please. Thank you. All opposed? And any abstains? All right. The new bylaws have passed, and they take effect immediately. Thank you. Thank you, guys. And I have to say, standing up here watching everybody talk and debate about this is very encouraging, and I don't know, it excites me. All right, the next thing on our agenda today are the nominations. Do we have somebody from the nominating committee that would like to come up here? Dana? So can we have somebody make a motion to accept the nominations of the nominating committee?
She can do that.
Okay.
Tell us what they are.
You can do that?
The first thing. Okay, my name is Bianco, and I make a motion to accept the nominations from the nominating committee.
Which are the state candidates.
Oh, okay. Our new candidates, the nominating committee has recommended that the following candidates serve a 2-year term on the UUCF Board of Trustees beginning July 1st, 2025, and that is Debbie Reebok, Ellie Cyril, and for Mark to continue on as a member, and not president.
So could Ellie and Betty stand?
And Janice Patton also for her, continuing on for her second term. Okay?
Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. This year, we have the following board members that are cycling off, except Colleen Clay is sailing off. So, good luck to her. And Thomas Contreras, and then Mark has completed his presidential term, and we're grateful for everyone. This was an extremely hardworking, successful board that spent many, many hours and accomplished many, many things with our procedures, our bylaws, the budget, and most importantly, we have a new minister that came to us in record time. So this was a highly successful board.
Thank you, thank you. So we have a second for the motion? Second, okay. Give it. No, that's, our bylaws does not allow that. Yes. Okay, so, all in favor of accepting the nominations for next term's board, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Okay, it's pretty much everybody. Any nays? And anyone abstain? All right, congratulations to all of us. I have to say, this last term for me was amazing. I have learned so much from the intelligent people on my board who not only are intelligent, but speak well and have clear conscience and are calm. So I am not a very calm person, but these people have taught me how to be calm. And so I just want to say I appreciate the people that I got to work with this last term. Truly, they are amazing, and they really, really care about this organization. So with that, we will go on to the next thing.
Okay, the next thing is going to be the election of the board president. A special thank you to Mark for all of his work and leadership and keeping focused and calm. It's been terrific. You've done good. The nominating committee has recommended that Mary Potts serve as UCF president. Mary has been with us for 20 years. She served on many committees. She has participated in our service auction and generated lots of money with her delicious, fun events over the years. She's currently a coordinator of the small group ministry program, and she was also part of the nominating committee prior to joining the board to fill that seat. She has lots of leadership skills, organizational skills, and she does it with kindness all the time. She's terrific. Okay? That's the motion.
I second. So, all in favor of nominating Mary Brooks? Mary Potts? Okay, all abstain? And any nays? Okay, so motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations.
Great. Lucky us. One more thing. Since Mary moved to the board and left a vacant seat on the nominating committee, we picked up or asked Rebecca Gallegos to fill in that spot, and now we would like to recommend that she serve a 3-year term on the nominating committee until 2028. That's 3 years from now. And which will, then that would be Paula, Rebecca, and I on the nominating committee.
I move to accept Rebecca as the third person for the nominating committee.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Opposed? And abstains? All right. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank the nominating committee. They have been working a long time on this project, and having been on the nominating committee, it's very frustrating, and the yoke is heavy because you really are trying to figure out who's willing and is the best person to serve this community. It's a very complicated job, very nuanced. All right. We have a short, not interlude, but we're going to be off subject just a little bit. We have Pat Mannion here to talk about some of the board achievements, just to catch everyone up, and a little bit of the state of the community, I guess you might say. Sure. So everyone, here's Pat.
Hi, everybody. This will be quick. I know it says board achievements, but this is really all of our achievements. It just started out as, making sure that we let you know we're working hard this year. But we all did all the things I'm about to mention. We did them together. The budget, we transitioned from the previous board to ours with questions. We hired a bookkeeper. We retained that bookkeeper. We were honest. We invited members to sit with us. We always invite you to come and sit in board meetings with us. Absolutely, please do. We discussed this as a community. We formulated a budget, which we see today, and we saw what our common values were. We backed fiscal responsibility. No, that says baked. We baked fiscal responsibility into the budget, and we continue to work as a group to determine the best needs and to speak with transparency when we talk about money. We pledge to always do that. Regarding a minister, we all met and we discussed what we sought for, looked for in a minister, what we appreciated in ministry. We followed the UUA's rules. We paneled a search committee we contracted with, and we welcomed a new minister, Reverend Rob. We're so happy to have you. Pledge drive. We began our yearly pledge drive. Clear management from Leslie and team, and a strong message from Ramona, Rebecca. We did not shirk from our fiduciary responsibility, and we asked everyone to help fund the congregation's infrastructure and our mission. And we truly, truly succeeded this year. I don't have the numbers on me, but I was in tears. It was amazing what we did this year. It really was. We moved our meeting time from 11:15 to 11:30. That's no small thing. Really, I just added this here at the last second, but that was huge. I mean, and it has helped. It's really helped us a lot that we did that. We all did that together. We really did. The website, it's been a long time. We knew it had to be updated. We are currently contracting with a web designer. We're getting rid of old content. We're moving in new content. It's going to be amazing. That's coming very soon. Small groups and programming. What an amazing year for that. Men's group, women's group, 2 women's groups. Improv, meditation, not to toot my own horn. A book club, and we could honestly keep adding small groups. This could just be the biggest thing we do. I, for one, love that. It is the special sauce of this congregation. It really is. Our music program, we discovered once again how much we truly love music. We worked hard to keep a musician we love. I was going to look right over there. We all know who it is. Christina Yoka, amazing. Expanded role as music director. So glad we did that. Our social action committee, what great work Debbie has done. All of you, every time I see that, the room is full of people. It takes people away from my meditation, but I don't mind. And just last week, the most recent thing I think we did was Rose London's performance and the money that we gained for Planned Parenthood. It was amazing, and we will continue to do things like that. And finally, we leaned into community outreach this year more than ever. The Hot Meals program, thank you, Barry. It's amazing that we have that back. Tara's Chance, other community outreaches that we have to help people that are in need. We had a presence yesterday at the Pride Fest. That was a fantastic thing to be a part of. And we are reaching out in numerous ways to the local Fullerton area. And I can't wait to see that grow. We're working hand in hand with First Christian more than ever. I love this time. I am so happy to be spending this time with all of you. We all are so happy to have this congregation. We truly are lucky. I'm so happy. I'm going to step away now.
Okay, the last thing on our agenda today, and as equally important, is the budget. The Budget Committee has worked very hard on this budget and was working on the budget just as we were having worship earlier. So I'd like to call up Colleen Clay. She can answer your questions and she can explain what the budget consists of, some of the changes, and your questions. Okay.
Hi. Hi. I'm your treasurer, Colleen Clay.
Hang on, Colleen, they can't hear you on Zoom unless you're on our ask. Hi, I'm your treasurer, Colleen Clay. I've been your treasurer for 1 year and 5 months, not that I'm counting. I want to start, hold it closer. I want to start by thanking everybody who gave me advice and support and counsel and historic context that helped me be successful in this role. It'd probably actually be easier if I stood up. All right. Does everybody have a budget? Did we pick up a budget? No? Budget's out on the table? Out on the front table. All right, it looks like we got some people going to get some budgets. So we handed out budgets, and we'll get some more out here. I want to start just by talking about the budget process and how we got here, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But focusing on this year, the process for this coming year's budget really started last year at Sherlan's house with Mike and myself and Kathy Boone, when we were looking at creating a two-part process where we had to finish the spending planning that we had with minister, through the religious education and everything, and plan for about 3 months of the year that way, and then another 9 months of the year to get us through the rest of the year. And it's that work that we did to estimate the 9 months that really is the foundation for what you see for this 12-month budget. We did a lot of learning in the process.
I have one more from all the people that came outside. It was posted on the website. It was sent out. You can bring it up online, but I have one more. So who absolutely needs a paper copy? Okay.
Okay. So then fast forward to this year where we had input from the board, back at Sherlan's kitchen table again, using that as our foundation. And then we also added in the information that we got from the accountant/bookkeeper. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Colleen Zenger, she's not here, but for the days and days of work that she did to help us identify a bookkeeper, which made it possible for me, a non-finance person, to support the Treasury position and to continue to provide us with the information to make good decisions about the stewardship of our organization. So I'm going to start with pledge. Yeah, very successful pledge drive, and thank you to the entire pledge team. We have a total pledged of $208,000. I want to say that we had less than that as pledged last year, and we hit 97% of our goal last year, in part because we had people who made extra donations to support us through the end of the year. This year, the budget committee, actually the board, decided to have a 10% estimate of unfulfilled pledges. This is a common part of a budget if you haven't seen it before. It's a little higher than the 4 to 7% that you see listed in some of the other church sites, but we are going to kind of a year of uncertainty. We're in change, we're growing, we don't know what's gonna happen. I think that we're going to come much closer to meeting our pledge goal, I think is the message, but we've kind of undercounted that. So I think there's a little cushion in there. And then we go through, we have Sunday offering, other fundraisers. We do have a new line item, or I should say a returning line item of $10,000 for fundraising events. We used to do the auction. In all the research and discussions that we've had, auctions are a big way that congregations raise money, and we need to work this year to start to raise money from a diversified set of income besides just pledge, and engaging the fundraising process is a challenge that we're passing to the incoming board. And so then you'll see here, last year, our anticipated reserve income spending was $33,000. This year, even with our 10% estimate of pledges that aren't fulfilled, we have estimated reserve funding of just $3,500. So if we do well in pledges, we won't expend any of our reserve funding, but we have the budget set up that way. Coming down to expenditures, for those of you who have a budget in your hand and a pencil, I want you to erase the part under minister payroll and taxes where it says plus health insurance in lieu. It's not a part of this line item, and we don't do payments for health insurance in lieu because of the regulations in the Affordable Care Act. Our budget really continues much like it was in the previous year, with some exceptions. We heard a lot of feedback about the desire for investment in music, and we have increased our music director line for this year to provide continuity, support Christine, and that really helps us. We have a minister, we have music, and this is settled and really defines the parameters with our speakers of our Sunday worship. Let's see. We have Grant as a volunteer this year in the sound room contributing, but you'll also see a line item just in case Grant isn't available and we have to pay someone to come in. So remember to thank Grant for volunteering in the sound room when you see him. We also have a return of $500 for the AL program, a program that is coming back. And then if you look at this at home, you'll see a discrepancy change. Well, you'll see a change from last year to this year. Last year, under auxiliary building use, we have, you'll see approved budget for $3,600, and you'll see this year for $6,000. And when you go home and all of you go home and look at the budget, because I know you're going to go right home, print it out, and scour the budget. And when you see that, you're like, oh gosh, why was it $3,600 in the 2024 budget, but $6,000 this year? $6,000 is the approved contracted amount. Last year, we thought we might renegotiate the use of the auxiliary building. It turns out we really used it almost as much as what we contracted for, and we didn't do the renegotiation. So we've returned that to the contracted amount. Did I get through everything? I didn't get through everything, did I? What did I miss? No, I did. I got through everything, didn't I? All right, there you go. So that's kind of a brief overview of the budget. From my perspective and going through this through the year, I'm really confident in this budget. I think it reflects the stability of our congregation right now. We've done our hiring. We understand what our expenses are. and what our income is, and in a way I think that we didn't when we were making the budget last year. So I personally am very confident in this budget, in the expenditures and the income that's cited. And now I will take questions.
Colleen, you need to move to accept the budget.
Does someone want to move to accept the budget?
You can do it.
I move we accept the budget that I've just presented.
I second.
All right. Are there any questions, any discussion? All right. Well, you have my email.
All right, great job. Thank you very much. So the motion is on the floor. All in favor of accepting this next budget, say aye. Raise your hand. Aye. Okay. Any nays? Any abstentions? All right. Motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations to all of us. Would you like to, Mary, would you like to say a few words?
So I had something all written up, and it was with my notes on the music, and I can't find it. So all I'm going to do is say thank you so much, and that I'm proud to be your president. I think we have exciting and wonderful things coming up. I think we have new people who are excited to be involved, and I'm looking forward to that because volunteerism is our staple, I swear. Oh, Colleen found it. Because I sent it to Colleen. That's okay. So, as I step into the role of president of the Board of Trustees, I am filled with immense gratitude and humility for the trust you have placed in me. And I am deeply committed to carrying forward the vital work of our shared faiths and values. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to outgoing President Mark Umbriaco and to the full board whose leadership and dedication have left an indelible mark on our community. I am so proud of what your board accomplished with you this year, as Pat pointed out. The vision, resilience, and compassion have paved the way for progress, and I'm inspired to build upon all that they and you have achieved. The bylaws require that the Board of Trustees meet at least 10 times a year. This board met at least 20 times in person and 4 to 5 times online. So I just want you to get an idea of how much work this board put in, plus additional work into all of the other things that we were involved in. The pledge drive, the website, the minister search committee. So just when people leave, give everyone from the board your thank you for their commitment to our congregation. Excuse me, to each of you, members, leaders, and friends of this community, thank you for your unwavering dedication to our values, your efforts in creating inclusive spaces, fostering justice, and nurturing spiritual growth are the foundation of everything we stand for. Together we have demonstrated that through the joy of our Sunday services, through our fellowship dinners and potluck dinners and small personal gatherings, through the engagement with the wider community, serving meals to those in need, reading to children, sending aid to those impacted by disaster and conflict, to the Pride Fest that we were at yesterday. UUCF is a sanctuary of love, resilience, and action. You have all invested in our future, and I am eager to collaborate with all of you to deepen our community and our collective work. This is a time of challenges, and you take that flower home and think about those, but also of great opportunities to affirm our mission and to make a meaningful impact in the world, to be a home for those seeking community, spiritual sustenance, and a space where love, justice, hope, and compassion thrive. Thank you once again for this opportunity to serve. This board welcomes your thoughts, ideas, and energies as we embark on this journey together. And as in our opening hymn today, let us gather in peace, gather in strength, and gather in action.
And this is what the peaceful transfer of power looks like. Well, again, thank you, everyone, and we will see you again. I think there's still probably some coffee and some sweets outside if you're out. And there's also meditation. For those of you going to stay for meditation, it's in the choir room. Thank you very much.
And social action is postponed.
Social action is postponed if you
Social
didn't.
action is postponed.